Facebook, what's up? It's Colleen here, and I just have a really fun kind of Friday night weekend type of message that I want to share because I recently got back from Rio, Brazil, and I went to Brazil to see a healer and had a great time, but the last 3 days I got to spend in Rio. And what was so fun was that I got to go surfing, and through my experience surfing, which I am not a pro at, I learned a really strong, valuable lesson that I really wanted to share with you. So if you're feeling it all before you go into this weekend, maybe you didn't hit a goal that you were trying to reach, or maybe you just want to feel more authentic as yourself and be yourself and you're hungry for that, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like you're really moving forward, this is for you. So let's dive in. So my name's Colleen Coles. If you've never watched a video of mine, hey, what's up? I love that you're here. And if you have, then drop a little line in the comments either way so that I can know to say what's up. So we got Tina here. Hey girl, what's up? Anyway, and I'm a purpose alignment coach, so I help women mostly just be who they truly are in the world and express that authentically, doing a purposeful career they love, being in a relationship that feels great for them, and just speaking their truth so that they can really be authentic in themselves in the world, and through that help the most people and live their greatest life. So, all right, let's dive in. Oh my God. Oh yeah. And then also, if you want to see more videos, check out my website, ColleenColes.com, where videos like this, but even like more and awesome ones are on my website, along with free healing sessions that I'm doing for a limited time, where you can go and incorporate like my intuitive healing energetic process. It's so cool to get all the blocks out of the way that are keeping you from those things that you desire, like healthy relationships, meaningful career, being you, and speaking your truth. So anyway, ColleenColes.com for more. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. So I went to Rio about 2 weeks ago, and I was there for just 3 days. And the first day I was there, let me back up a little. I started doing this really cool vision statement where I read out like a vision board of my life. And as I was creating this a month before I left, I started to have this weird vision or pop-up of surfing. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll never get a chance to do that. But I still wrote it in. I was like, I went to the tropics, and I love how, you know, I get to surf and the water's on my body, and I love how connected to God I feel in that. And I had no idea how that would happen because I thought like it wasn't going to happen anytime soon. But then I clicked it together that, oh my gosh, I'm in Rio, I'm going to be in Rio, and there's freaking beaches everywhere. The reason I went to Brazil was for John of God, the medium, who is more inland, and so I hadn't even put that together. So when I got to Rio, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my opportunity to just like go surfing. Okay, so have I ever been surfing? I've been surfing twice. Once on Pacific Beach in California before a music festival, and I couch surfed with a friend with a little Hawaiian guy who designed billboard shorts, okay? So I learned that one time, stood up one time, and the other time was about 10 years ago when I studied abroad in Chile and went there. So, am I an expert surfer? Heck no, I'm not. Hey Tanya, nice to see you. Okay, so yeah, I was not an expert, but I was like, I am so ready to go. I cannot wait to go surfing. This has got to happen. So I go up to Felipe, and Felipe is like not speaking English that well, and I'm not speaking Portuguese, but we make it work. And I find out he's like, okay, so you can have the surfboard for 2 hours for like basically like, I don't know, I can't remember the commercial, like $40. Or he's like, or you can take a lesson for like $70 for 1 hour. And I was like, I don't think I need a lesson. Who needs a lesson? I'll just take the surfboard, okay? So I go and take the surfboard, and I'm just like on my own watching these other surfers, and I just have this thought. I'm like, nobody said I had to be good at this. Like, who cares, right? And so I'm going, I'm having such a great time, and it's like my vision board is coming alive, and I'm like feeling the water, and I'm swimming, and I'm like hardly standing up, but who cares? Okay, so all of a sudden, I'm taking a break, and I like swam really far out, and I'm just like sitting on the board. And all of a sudden I see these two white dudes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, white dudes, maybe they speak English, how exciting, right? And they're like, oh, hello, we're from Paris. I'm like, hey. And they said, they're like, I didn't even realize how far out we got. And I was like, really? I don't even know. Like, I'm just having fun and I'm on a surfboard. And they were like, yeah, we were by the shore a minute ago and now we're super far out. I was like, huh. All of a sudden, two Brazilian lifeguards come out of nowhere and throw them this yellow buoy, right? And they're like, you guys gotta go back in, you're way too far out, the current took you guys away, you gotta come out. So it was like, oh wow, okay, we're far out. All of a sudden, one of the lifeguards, he points behind me, and I look, and there's this African guy, he's probably like 17, going underwater and above, like this, and I thought he was playing around, but he was freaking drowning. And I was like, oh my God. And so like I swim, and he gets on the surfboard, and another guy out there who was Portuguese, like spoke Portuguese, he was trying to talk. He's like, I only speak English. I'm like, yes, I speak English. Oh my gosh, you're okay, are you okay? And he didn't know how to swim. Then the lifeguard, he saw another guy, African, and he was his friend, and he didn't know how to swim, and they were out there like freaking drowning. And so we got there and we got them, everybody went back in, and I was like, whoa, oh my gosh. So all this, hey Lashana, what's up? Okay, so I'm just telling my story about surfing in Rio and what I learned, and it's amazing. So all of a sudden, like, everybody's back into the beach, and I'm coming off of my little surfboard, and I see this lifeguard who just like saved the day, right? And he's standing, and he's like in his little Speedo thing, and it just like, I'm like, whatever, okay, great. But he was like, wow, I'm tired, right? And I'm like, yeah, I get that. And he said, if you weren't out there, if I didn't see you and those other guys, I don't think we would have made it to those African guys, because they were harder to see, and they could have went, bloop. That's what he did, because he didn't speak a lot of English. But I was like, wow, like, I'm so honored, or like happy. He's like, yeah, you were really in the right place at the right time. And I couldn't believe it. But the big message of that I got was, we can really be of service when we're having fun. Okay, like, we really can be of service when we're just in our joy and bliss, but like having a good time with a purpose for us and following a vision. Because I wasn't aiming to save lives, even though helping people is maybe important to me. Like, I know it's important to you too, right? And yet, because I was there in my element, going with the flow, like capital F flow, all of a sudden I was able to help two people like save their lives, and it was amazing. So that was a huge takeaway. That's chapter 1. So I want you to think about maybe where your life is for that. But, okay, it gets even better. Chapter 2. All right, so I find out this lifeguard, his name is Paulo. And later I see him on the beach. He's like, hey, how's surfing? I'm like, yeah, I'm not really good. Da, da, da. He's like, well, why don't you come out tomorrow and I can teach you how to surf? I was like, really? Great. He's like, yeah, we just like work together, like you helped me out or whatever, like we had that connection. So I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So the following day, I go back to Ipanema by Copacabana Beach in Rio, and I'm ready to surf. Now, the difference is it's a little later in the afternoon. I went and saw Cristo at the big statue dude, and so it's like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Whoa. So a little bit different conditions, okay? It's colder out, it's like stormier out a little bit, and so I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I have my little board. The first board I got was way too big, so I was like, I'm such a dummy. But anyway, okay, so I get this little board, I'm in my little wetsuit, and then he's like, all right, let's surf. So I'm like, okay, great. And now, I was really nervous today, because why? Like, now I'm with somebody who's an excellent surfer, and I don't really know what I'm doing. The second reason why is because where he takes us to surf, he's like, this is where the best waves are. It's just right by the rocks. So you just got to be careful about the rocks. I'm like, oh yeah, right, the rocks. Like, luckily they weren't too sharp, but I was like, yeah, right. And he's like, and to get the best waves, you actually go super close to the rocks, and then you surf out, like, with the wave. I'm like, oh, great. And he's like, oh yeah, and also it's just really shallow, so make sure you don't, like, nosedive or anything, because you could hit your head. I'm like, yeah, great. So there's rocks sucks, it's shallow, it's stormy, and this is terrifying. Great. I'm just a little nervous, but it'll be fine. Okay, so anyway, long story short, day 2 was a lot different than day 1. Because why? Like, I was just being beat up by the waves. These waves were like crashing down. They were just, and he was saying it too, these waves are really different. Like, they weren't just these like nice, you know, slow waves. He's like, these waves were really like up and then down. They just kind of crashed, right? And all these great surfers were around too. So I was like, oh my God, I'm in the way. Oh my God. Okay, so like, oh my gosh, it was so terrifying. And I was so bad, okay? And not only that, it was so scary because I kept trying to get over these waves, right? So you like try to get over and then like you might get hit by a wave that's like coming in your face and you're tumbled back, right? And so then it was like, okay, whoa, right? And you get up and you swim to get past the next wave, but maybe you didn't swim far enough and there's a wave coming and it freaking just knocks your head off and just eats you alive and pushes you all the way back from where you started. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Paulo is like surfing these waves. He's like, hey, and like making sure I'm okay, but I felt like such an idiot. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like an idiot trying something new, even though you went to have fun and you thought it was going to be a great idea. Let me know with the comments if that's you with the little emoji. Like, oh my gosh. So, okay, the reason I'm saying all this, it's going to get good. Here we go. Is that, you know, sometimes when you try hard things or when you feel like something's a good idea and you really want something, but by the time you get started with it, it's actually really hard, or maybe you think that it should be easy or fun or something, like even a fun relationship, and then you're getting into it and it's actually really hard. Or maybe you start your dream and you're like doing your purpose and you're like, yeah, but then bam, this is hard. Bam, you're learning. Oh my God, this is really hard. This is what I was experiencing and how this surfing relates to you or me or any of us. Okay, because there came the moment when I was just toppled by these waves. Like, I'd finally get beyond those crashing waves, but try one, totally stupidly like tumble, and then be back to square one, having to go back to these waves again and just being beat up and thrown around. And at one point, like, it's getting dark and stuff, and I'm just like, Colleen, like the negative chatter started. And it was like, Colleen, what are you doing? Like, you're stupid. You know, what were you thinking? And then the little girl kind of came in and she was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And like, I'm gonna die, right? And I remember this specific moment when I'm there and I'm like paddling or I'm like off the board, I'm trying to walk, and I'm seeing this wave coming. And it's like as tall as me. It already broke, but it's as tall as me. And I remember seeing this wave just starting to come. And I remember having those thoughts of like, Colleen, I can't do this. Like, no, I'm gonna die. Like, well, you're so wrong. What's wrong with you? All of these thoughts. And in that moment, I remember just looking at this wave, and I just decided to change my mind. I just decided, and I said, you know what, Colleen? You could say all of that stuff, or you could freaking turn it around and say, I'm a girl that doesn't give up. And in that moment, I freaking jumped on my surfboard, went over the wave, and then kept climbing out and freaking surfing, and I had a better time. I still didn't get really that much better, but it was this cool moment where I was like, no, I don't have to be the victim. I don't have to be the person who gives up or says I can't surf because I tried one time and got beat up and everyone was laughing at me, at least in my head. So no, I was the person who could flip it around, and so are you. So are you. When things get really hard, or you think you have to give up, or this isn't meant for you anymore, if it's something you really want, you have the same capacity and choice in this current moment to change your mind and to say and turn that around. No, I am a person who never gives up. I am a person who is resilient, and I am a person who is learning and growing faster than anybody who this came easy to, because in that way, my neural pathways are growing, and that's called growth mindset, people. Growth mindset. I used to be a teacher, and this is something I taught my students, was that when we have that ability to see we can do what is hard and still overcome, that's when you actually get even better than the people it came easy to. Okay? Read Carol Dweck's work. Grit is a great book. But anyway, I digress. All of that to say, people, that we all have the capacity to really do what we truly desire to do, even when it's hard. And you can turn it around any moment, even now, to say, I am not the type of person who's a baby. I am not the type of person who gives up. I am not the type of person who people laugh at because I can't do this. I am the type of person who keeps going forward no matter what. I am the type of person who never gives up and that can keep going and choose to take one more wave. Okay? And that's what makes those champion surfers, which one day when I'm 70 years old, maybe I'll be too. So I hope you've enjoyed my story. I hope you've enjoyed my message. And I can't wait to I hope I hear from you, what are the things you're working on? What are the things that you're gonna apply this with, in the next couple days or in your mind right now? We're all in it together, and so I just really wanted to share that lesson of what I learned in Rio surfing. Okay, and how you can apply that to your life too. It's magical. So I can't wait to go surfing again, planning a trip maybe next weekend in Virginia Beach. Maybe I'll go back to Rio. But all of that being said, thanks so much for joining. How are you going to apply this, and how are you going to be the badass person you already know you are deep down? Okay, so sending you love. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Comment below, and ColleenColes.com for more if you loved this type of thing. Mwah! Bye!